Hello everyone, welcome to Digital Marketing Gyan, the podcast where we keep on sharing some of the informative tools, techniques, case studies and latest updates in digital marketing domain. I'm your host Prince Kumar and we have Tracy Lamourie with us. Tracy is a high profile international award winning publicist and the founder and managing director of Lamourie Media. She is the author of the upcoming book Get Rep. Build your brand with effective public and media relations. She has been featured in Rolling Stone magazine, the Hollywood Times, NBC TV, and other major media. Today, we'll be discussing about how to build a strong brand with effective PR and media relations with her. Hi Tracy, welcome to our show.
Hello. Very happy to be here. Thank you so much.
So Tracy, before moving forward, can you give some details about what Lamourie Media is and the journey of how you founded and the service provided?
Absolutely, yeah. So Lamourie Media, I'm the founder, and co-founder, and managing director. Founded it along with my husband Dave Parkinson, but I'm the public face of it. It's pretty much my baby. He joined me in it, and what we do is shine light on the amazing work that people across industries and across borders are doing. So we work with creatives, with film, with authors, and also with small businesses, with startups around the world, to help elevate their presence basically and help them build their global media presence and reputations for thought leadership. So yeah, I get people in the news and I get people in the media.
So please share something about your upcoming book that is Get Rep, Build a Brand with Effective PR and Media Relations.
Exactly. Yeah. So basically I've been doing, I've done in the last year nearly 200 podcasts, panels, TV and radio appearances talking about the same thing to similar audience. So mostly my book is written for an audience of entrepreneurs and business people, primarily because a business publisher asked me to write the book. Though anybody who wants to get there, if they're an author and they want to get their book in the media, or if they're just looking for an opportunity to tell their story in media, I also teach them how to break down those media doors to get noticed. But primarily the audience is entrepreneurs and executives, same as the people that I speak to in most of the podcasts. And what I find is when it comes to small business and entrepreneurs, a good 80 to 90% of entrepreneurs are completely unaware of the power of PR, don't really understand what it is as it relates to their business, why they should be thinking about it. While all businesses think about marketing and advertising, they're not necessarily thinking about the older cousin of PR, mostly because they just don't know how to navigate the media or how to get the attention of the media, beyond buying advertising. And we're not talking about advertising. We're talking about, becoming a source, an expert that media comes to, or that you suggest to media, that you can speak to things of interest to their audience. So that's that's what it's all about, is teaching entrepreneurs to see themselves as those experts that they already are, and then breaking down those barriers, getting them quoted. So what I do is I get my clients featured in things, in everything from podcasts to publications. But some of them, recently, like in the last year or two, some of my clients have been in New Yorker, New York Times, Reader's Digest, Good Housekeeping, NBC TV, Ticker TV Australia, right across the board. And we're always looking for opportunities, literally on a global level, no matter where the client, physically resides. We're looking for global opportunities to get them noticed and heard.
Amazing. So you are doing a lot of stuff, and I think so that is what you are getting compiled into your upcoming book. So we want to understand what actually is PR and media relations.
So essentially, the way to look at it, especially for entrepreneurs and executives, is the difference between what you're used to thinking about your advertorial, your advertising, your marketing. That advertorial way of thinking is not what will get you in the newsroom. It will keep you out of the newsroom. So if you want the PR and media attention, you need to understand yourself for a moment, not as somebody trying to sell something, but as an expert that can provide information of value to the media. And by doing that, the side effect, the impact will be that you get noticed in the media, you build your thought leadership, but that particular moment is not an ad, it's not advertising. So you have to understand the difference between the advertorial and the editorial. The editorial thinking is what's going to get you in the newsroom, whereas the advertorial thinking will just have the news editor directing you to the ad department. So that's what it comes down to, is understanding, number one, the difference between advertorial and editorial, and then figuring out how to find, where are those opportunities to get into the media. So most people have heard of a press release. That's where you have a news story and you want to reach out to your local TV, your local radio, your local wherever with your story. There's that, and then there's effective ways to do that and ineffective ways to do that. But then even beyond that, something that most entrepreneurs on a global level don't know is that there's places you can go for free online, not even any cost to you, that essentially are meeting places for reporters who are looking for sources for their stories and those sources. So no matter what it is you do, whether you sell houses for a living, whether you're an author, whether you're a marketing consultant, no matter what it is you do, there are media opportunities and stories and articles in this great big world that are being written about that, and they're looking for sources. So if you, for example, go to something like, and write this down, guys, Help a Reporter Out, Haro.net in America, or Source Bottle, like SOURCE Bottle in Australia. Both of those are free resources that have opportunities on a global level from media that you've heard of and also media you haven't. But major media will go there and say things like, with a deadline of Tuesday at 2:00, NBC TV is looking to speak to entrepreneurs who can tell them about how they've got through COVID, or they're looking to speak to real estate agents who can talk about what color to paint your kitchen to sell it faster, or they're looking for, literally every single thing you can think of. So if you start to monitor those sources, you will see opportunities that you fit, that you qualify for. And if you start to answer them correctly, you may just find yourself in Reader's Digest, in the New York Times, and New Yorker, and NBC, and the list goes on. And obviously the value of that is that third-party credibility. An ad cannot buy that. So you can buy an ad in those things, in all those publications I mentioned, but you cannot buy you being interviewed as an expert. And when you're talking about either whether it's attracting other customers to yourself, or whether you're talking about differentiating yourself from your competitor, or whether you're talking about making investors take you more seriously, this is what it's all about, is having that third-party credibility, because we can all say whatever we want about ourselves on our websites, and on our socials. Anybody can hire a graphics design guy to make them look good, or a website guy to make them look good. But when I search your name, if everything that I find is stuff that you put out, then as far as I'm concerned, you're not really doing what you should be doing in terms of business. When I search your name, whether I'm an investor, a customer, whoever, I should be finding things other people have said about you. So articles talking about you as a thought leader, you being quoted in major media as an expert in your field. These are the kind of things that attract investment if you're a startup, or customers, if you're just looking to differentiate yourself from the competition. So media is free for the taking if you know how to get it. If you don't, you have a publicist to guide you. But it's, any entrepreneur who is not thinking about this as a component of their business is literally leaving gold on the table and just like passing right by it every day, like, nah, I don't want it, no thanks, give it to someone else.
So you have defined very perfectly actually PR and media relations stand for. Now my next question is, there are different other social media, there's a kind of TV advertisement, and there are kind of different other advertising platforms. Why do you think that PR and media relations is something where most of the businesses should focus upon?
Yeah, it's funny because in our new world, we all think about social media, and it's funny because now advertising and now entrepreneurs think, yeah, social media. I've got to get my Instagram. I got to get my TikTok. And you do absolutely. That's all a part of it, and that's part of PR. Because from when I look at PR is your public image, and so of course in this new world, social media is a huge part of your public image, but it's not everything. And that comes back to, again, anybody can set up a Facebook page, anybody can set up an Instagram. Yes, you get some social proof, by the people that follow you. You can start to build that by, just that's one thing, but you're never, ever, ever gonna, it's never going to be a thing where mainstream media, television, radio, and newspaper doesn't matter. And the same with when we're on a podcast now. Podcasts absolutely are just as important in the new media landscape as your television, radio, TV. So you have social media, which is where you have your own voice and your own channel, and you're able to say whatever you want. And that's great as a component of what you're doing. It helps people get to know you. But mainstream media, which is where there's an editor, where someone else is deciding, someone else at the world has decided is an expert in their field, like Rolling Stone magazine or New Yorker magazine. And they're deciding that of all the people in the world they could interview for their story, you are the one who has the best information. So it just elevates you in terms of, a great example is, life coaches or real estate agents, something where, everybody knows a life coach, everybody knows a real estate agent. When you go to their web pages, no matter how awesome they might be, they're very similar in their outreach. They have the same kind of pictures, the same kind of messaging, the same. So if I don't know them and I'm just going to look for, choose a service provider, how do I differentiate? How do I choose who? Well, I don't know about you, but I go to after I look at someone's website, now I'm going to go to Google and search them. And so I can look at two people, Bob and Sam, or Samantha and Babina, and they both have beautiful websites and they say great things about their work, and they all have, commendations on there where other people said they said this or that, but I don't know, that could be made up. But then I go and search their name, and Babina, nothing comes up, but the other person, Samantha, all of a sudden she's interviewed in, like you said, she's in Rolling Stone magazine. NBC has asked her about this. Huffington Post has articles about her. So when I'm looking as to choose who to put my money and faith in, am I going to choose the person who is saying all kinds of great things about themselves, but that's all I know? Or am I going to choose the person who, when I Google their name, there's dozens of media articles, not ads, but articles about their work, where people are interviewing them about the great work they've done, see what I mean? So it puts that gravitas behind you that you literally can't buy.
Definitely, you have given a brief idea about what is the natural differences. And then you have also given a clear idea that social media is not a kind of separate from PR. PR includes n number of different activities along social media. And basically, it's more on towards having an organic presence rather than having a paid presence.
100%. That's it makes all the difference. That fact that other people have come to you as an expert, and as opposed to, I mean, obviously there's a place for advertising and marketing. You need to that's definitely, it's a different thing. I work with ad and marketing departments, and I help them with their wording and whatever else too, and we synergy together. But in turn, for me, starting my business, I never placed an ad. I've been very successful. I've never once placed an ad because I'm a publicist. So I literally just did what I do for my clients, for myself, and I have nothing against advertising. If I needed to fill up if I need it, I would certainly place one. But because of my PR work, literally the media work that I've done for myself, I don't have to. I have all my work, like literally 90% or 80 to 90% of my work, I should say 80 to 90, is repeat business or referrals, where I just open up my email and a person I've never heard of is ready to hire me because someone told them about me. So I don't normally have to go out and look for business. When I do, I'll look on LinkedIn or once in a while on Upwork where there's some interesting projects and, suggest, hey, look what I could do for you. But very much it's a matter of like my the world is my oyster, because the way I see it, people don't realize they all need PR, but anybody in business needs PR. Like I said, 10 years I've been doing this, globally recognized. I literally have, right now, I have probably 35 clients literally around the world, from Dubai, no lie, from Dubai to England to Africa to Toronto to Los Angeles. Those are where my clients are across industries, and I've never placed an ad. It's literally all on the power of the media that I've got for myself, and that's what I do for my clients too.
Definitely, and that's the power of the PR and the
Hmm.
media relations.
Exactly.
So now coming to the activities that we generally do. So can you just guide on like what all activities that brands can plan to improve their PR and media relations?
Yeah, the number one tip I would say that I mentioned earlier, but honestly, write this one down, guys. No matter who you are or what your brand is, and if you don't have a publicist, if you do have go to Help a Reporter Out. It's a free website. We call it HARO, HARO, but it's called Help a Reporter Out, and it's free. If you go and sign up or whatever it is, 3 times a day you'll get a list of 50 to 100 emails. Actually, I was looking at it right before we spoke, right here, actually. And, no matter what you do, if you look at that for 3 or 4 days, you'll be blown away. You'll be amazed by the kind of media opportunities available to the average person. Like right now, I'm looking at, Salon Magazine is looking for quotes from people about their love language when they're dating, which is just about your dating style. Script ND is looking for writers to talk about what rules they live and work by. Like, what somebody else, Insider is looking for people who, this one's funny, tips for someone who feels like they hate everyone. So, like, you never know, like, honestly, just like, and most of them are more, some of them are super business ones, super whatever. You never know what what it's going to be. But if you start answering those, and of course, there's little tips and tricks to answering them. Like, one thing I always tell clients is don't write an essay. They're not looking for you to write the article. They're writing the article. They only need a paragraph or two, a quote, like when you're reading the magazine and it says, hey, Julia said blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So that's how you get in there. Now, that's a beginning way to build your leadership, because even though it might only be a line or two, then after, a little while, when you can say as featured in as mentioned in Reader's Digest, as in whatever. Then there's also things like Authority, and Thrive Global, which actually do features of, of entrepreneurs and executives who are not famous, but they're just doing good work, something interesting about what they're saying or doing, or they're not reinventing the wheel. They're just, doing something with their communities. So there's what I'm trying to say is there's all kinds of opportunities that people are just unaware of. And, if you, this is the way I put it, if you have a budget for marketing, put, a little bit aside for just 1 month and hire a publicist. Hire me. I work internationally across borders. But I mean, I'm really just saying it not to pitch myself, but to say after a month of working with a publicist, whether me or another one, you'd have an understanding in your head of how they place you, how they present you. You'd see that little pitch and you'd be like, oh, wow, you'd literally understand yourself as an expert in demand and see how to continue that path. If you don't have a publicist and you're trying to, learn it all by yourself, don't forget you're taking time out. Just like if I don't take time out to go and mow the lawn. I hire someone to do that because I'm really good at what I do here. Someone else is really good at that. So if I had to take time out to go figure that out, I'm going to be learning all kinds of things and doing it slower than he will. So, there are things you can absolutely do by yourself, like going to HARO, Help a Reporter Out, like going to Source Bottle, like putting together your little pitch, like starting to think about yourself as an expert and think about what some interesting segments that you could suggest to your local media, all these things. But again, if you do have any kind of marketing budget, I really challenge you for 1 month, put a little bit of it to PR. Happy to do a free consult and tell you exactly what you could expect, what kind of media you can expect after the end of that 4 weeks with me or someone like me. And, then you just kind of go back to what you're doing and hit the ground running. You put those links on your page. People keep on hiring me because once they do it, you're like, oh, wow, more of that, please. They see the effect and the way people respond to it and how it brings customers and, and all that stuff. And it also gives you, for those who worry about content, I know it's an issue for people to, think even just about their socials. It gives you fresh, exciting new content for your social media when you can say, hey, catch me on this blog tomorrow. Oh, here's the link to the blog I was on yesterday. Or the blog, sorry, catch me on this podcast. Or see me quoted here in Reader's Digest. So all these things it gives you fuel, and it continues to build your thought, leadership, which again supports your company and attracts investors if you're in the investor realm, or just attracts customers if you're a service provider.
Like, to my audience, I would say that if you want to see the work of Tracy, just go and search on Google, and you'll be amazed to see the number of sites that have her mentioned.
And that's what I do.
Yeah,
That's what I teach people how to do, right? So that's the proof in the pudding right there.
definitely.
I talk about what I do, and then I say, now go search my name, because I can't make that up. Go Google my name, and you'll see that, that's what I do for my clients too.
Definitely. So Tracy, can you just help us know, like, why this PR and this media relations is important for individuals?
Yeah, for individuals, even if they don't have a company, yeah, absolutely. So what I've been, I've spoken on this a little bit lately too. So say you're just in the corporate, you're in the corporate, you're not trying to build your own business or your own brand. So you may think, well, why would I need that? It's not my, but you are the business, you are the brand. Right now you might be, at that job, but maybe next week you're going to want a different job, or you're going to want to stay in that job, but you want to be the most valuable player at work, right? How do you become the most valuable player? Well, again, if media is coming to you, say, you're a computer technology expert, or you're a sales consultant, or whatever else. But if you've learned this, what I'm teaching, and you learn how to break those media barriers, then now you know how to get your messaging out to media. So by the, you'll have profiles, you'll have interviews. And then can you imagine when your boss is looking to see who's going to get that, that corner office, or who's going to get that raise, or when you're looking to leave your company and looking for, other offers? Wouldn't it be nice to have on your resume, look at these 3 articles I was featured in, these 3 absolutely impresses, you're the most valuable player now. And I see the difference that it makes just from what my own brand, the difference between, years ago when I was starting out and I was having, pitching to clients and saying, hey, this is what I can do for you. And they're like, okay, sounds good. I'll give her a try, and then I'm proving myself. And well, those conversations are 1,000 times different now that I can just be like, people come to me, or they'll ask me, or, what's your pricing? What's your this or that? How do you work? And instead of me having to convince them and all this, that I'm good, like literally, like you said, I can just say, you know what, go and Google me, listen to a few of those things, check it out. By the time they come back, they know who I am and what I can do. It's out there. And now we're in a whole different kind of conversation. Instead of me being like a junior, asking them for the work, it's literally like, people are like, wow, I've been reading I'm so excited to work with you. Thank you for taking this on. Thank you, Tracy, for taking the time out of your day to talk to me about whether I can pay you for some work. That's how it becomes. It completely switches your power basis. And so no matter who you are or what you do, whether your goals are, you want to write, you're an author writing a book, you're building a business, you're thinking about building a business, or you're a corporate guy, your knowledge, your skills, your understanding of the world is a value. There are places where we can get you media for, and doing that's why you hear those terms thought leadership now. And in fact, I would go so far as to say, if you're not doing those things, no matter whether you're, certainly if you're an entrepreneur, but even if you're in the corporate track, with all the possibilities now, if you're not doing those things, you can be assured that there are people in your industry who are doing it. And so you're falling behind, even if you're doing a fantastic job and everybody on your street knows it. In the global marketplace, which is where we are now, you're falling behind if you're not cognizant of these opportunities.
Definitely. That's the need of the hour, whether it might be for individual or for the brand.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, like, if the brands are interested to go for this PR and media relations, so what are the different parameters they can use to measure the success of this campaign?
Yeah, so for me, and that's always a great question, it's an interesting conversation. Unlike in marketing or sales, where you're starting and your goal is to sell this many books or this many widgets, those sales are obviously an outcome and something we, an outcome of what we do. But my goal, as opposed to a marketing, like you go to a marketing and sales guy, their goal is to get you those sales and marketing. Your goal as a business owner is obviously to get more sales in business. My goal is to support you in your goal, getting more sales in business. But my ultimate job is not the sales and the marketing. My job is to position you on a global level and give you the strength and the gravitas behind you so that when you open your mouth, everyone's listening and like applauding and believing it, and you know what I mean. So I'm setting the stage for you to make those sales, and whether it's like if it's a company where you're making sales, or whether you're talking about selling your book, or whether you're whatever your product is, I'm positioning you to turbo that. I'm giving you not just tools that you have to do something with, but I'm putting like the frame around you, so everything that you do is bigger and better and more impressive. So that ultimately is that the ROI there, it comes from that. You will get more sales, you will get more whatever, but my success comes from that positioning. So if I get you in New York Times, if I get you in whatever, and then that's not the end of the day. That's my first success, and then I have to teach you and also work with you to advantage that, because New York Times or the biggest media, NBC, anything, is only one day and then it's over, right? So there's that one spike, but then how do you keep that going? So you include it in your bio and you include it in your pitches, and then you build on that, and if you have that one, you go to get more. So it really is it's a long-term thing with a you can get some quick goal. I mean, you get quick action when you work with me, like right away, but also it's long-term thinking and long-term goals, not just about what am I selling and doing today, but you're building your lifetime reputation, and and on a global level, which is really hard for people to get their heads around when they're just working on their street. But the world is not as big as you think it is, and it really is. It's big, but it's little, and there are lots of opportunities. And it's sometimes hard to explain it in a podcast, but this is what I'm actually thinking I should start doing tutorials. Like, aside from just doing PR for people, I'm moving towards setting up tutorials for people about just really understanding this and getting your head around it and giving you step-by-step tools about what you can do on your own, and then from there deciding if you want a publicist, fine, but I want to teach people how to navigate this media world, especially as it becomes more easier and harder as we have more and more media platforms and new media platforms, as the world gets more crowded in terms of messaging. So it's ever more important that you understand how to do it correctly and powerfully.
So you have clarified it perfectly well, that we should not be expecting sales from our PR activities. It is rather a platform. I would say it's a kind of global platform that is being given to you, so that you can pitch your product or services to the global market and build your brand.
Yeah, and sales will come from it, right? Because obviously, just like with an ad, if someone hears about it, if they're interested in it, your sales is going to come, but it's not as direct a thing. It's more like a roundabout thing. So instead of, if you want to sell 10 books today, you go to a marketing or sales department. But if you want to sell 100 books this month, and another 100 next year, and also if you want to be able to go, what I mean? It's bigger than that. It's making you bigger. It's making you a rock star. Basically, the way I look at it, people come to me, they're a real estate agent. By the time we're done, they're the celebrity real estate agent. Just like I'm a publicist, I'm a celebrity publicist. Because like you said, when you Google my name, you see 100 me's. I'm everywhere. That's not the case with every publicist. So no matter what you do, it's about, raising your profile. And it's not about bragging. It's about showing, think about it. It's not like, hey, look at me, I'm awesome. If for people who aren't of the mind, who are nervous about that, it's not. You're sharing knowledge that you have that other people don't have. So and as a result of that, you're becoming the leader. And as a result of that, everyone's looking at you for whatever it is, whether whatever you're selling, all that stuff.
So Tracy, can you please share some case studies where a good PR campaign helped businesses in their growth?
Yeah, so I have one example of just like an individual. It's not even a big startup, but I talk about this one a lot because I just love the story. So a 26-year-old hired me. She was a life coach, like a lot of life coaches. and like I said, didn't she was awesome, but didn't have much to differentiate her when you looked at her page, because how do you show that you're different? So her idea was that if I share the life struggles that I've had, that I've been successful getting through, then people will see that I have something to share. So her thing was bipolar. She'd successfully navigated life in spite of bipolar. And she decided, I'm going to speak out about that. Well, literally, so I gave her my best deal, half price, because she was only 26, just starting in business, So I gave her a really good deal. And literally the very next day, I found an opportunity in, I mean, you're a guy, so this isn't going to be your favorite magazine, but Good Housekeeping magazine is a 150-year-old American magazine, which is literally on, anywhere in the English-speaking world, it's at every grocery counter. It's one of those, right? And literally the day after she hired me, I got her an interview with Good Housekeeping magazine. They ended up putting her in their print issue in an article that they, a cover story. Her photo wasn't on the cover, but like the headline of the article was on the cover. And that was almost 2 years ago. She's just one individual. Every single month she hires me because the ROI is there. As a result of that, she can get any media she wants to do anything to do with mental health or wellness, or which is what she sells, that kind of, that's what her game is. She gets the media. It doesn't matter, because all we have to say is, as seen in the print issue of Good Housekeeping. So that's 2 years later, she's still, eating lunch on that, as the expression goes, right? So, yeah, it's goals, I'm telling you.
Definitely. So that is a very insightful case study that you have shared with us. Now, any last piece of advice that you would like to give to brands and also to individuals to focus while building their PR and media activities?
Yeah, this is a more general thing, not necessarily strictly media focused, but but advice to, human advice to entrepreneurs and to people, everybody listening, is really simple one. Two of them. One is never give up. And I got that. You asked me and I didn't answer earlier how I started in this work. And, way before business was ever in my head, I was a young activist in my 20s with my husband, Dave Parkinson. We had a radio show and we learned about the case of a man on death row in Pennsylvania. So, convicted of murder and sentenced to death, except he didn't do it. He was factually innocent. And it wasn't a case that was getting a lot of attention, but in our 20s, we decided we're going to make the world know about this. And that's how I learned to write a press release. And, that's how all this started a long time ago. Ultimately, he was freed. We were right. He was absolutely innocent and he was freed. He's a free man, a music artist now since 2017. And what got him through 25 years on death row, which, if you can only imagine, was literally never give up. He just kept, and music, he kept saying that to himself, never give up. And now, so when someone, who got through something like that tells you that, you hold on to that. So I remember, I love that, just that never give up. And I add to it something I read on the internet not long ago, which was, we didn't get this far to only get this far. And I love that, because no matter where you are in your business or in your life, whether, you're super successful and you're where you want to be, but you still have goals, keep on going. Because there's no limit. You can crush it. Keep on going. Or most importantly, because it's been a really rough year for a lot of different reasons for a lot of people, right? So, if this is most especially for the people who don't feel like they're successful, whether it's in business or in personal life or whatever it is, who feel stuck or who wanted to jump off a bridge yesterday, or, who just don't feel like they can do it. This one is to you guys. You absolutely are a winner. I don't care who's listening, because you're listening, you're here, you're still standing. And life is not easy, and it drags you down, and it's hard. And you know what? So if you made it this far, you're a winner. You made it. You did not get this far to only get this far. So keep on going. Whatever your goals are, personal, professional, you got this. You made it. You made it up to today, to the point where you can listen to this right now. A lot of people didn't get this far, and you did. So keep going.
Thank you for motivating our audience to go and to build their brand and to have a hands on the PR activities.
Very welcome.
So with this, we all have come to the end of today's episode. It was pleasure having you, Tracy. and learn about building a strong brand with effective PR and media activities. Thank you so much and looking forward to host you again.